Alrighty. So, I just thought I would explain my master plan that I'm working on. Um, this is all the. This is where all the music kind of goes and all that other stuff. I don't know what this looks like, but so anyway, the grand idea is trying to get people closer to God, which mainly works with the encounter with Christ. So this is my ministry hierarchy tree sort of thing. So the idea, of course, is you want more to have that encounter so they can have that relationship. The main avenue that I see to do that is through prayer groups, where you have a regular frequency of spending time actually trying to encounter God, not just praying for what you need kind of prayer group, but the kind of prayer group where you do praise and worship, and in there you hopefully encounter God, and there's some neat points of that with free form, open worship sort of things. And then also with praying with and for each other for healing and for growth and for bringing God's grace in the here and now through each other to the person. So that's what the prayer groups do. So the main avenues of the prayer groups that you work on then are encounter through praise, an encounter through healing, or word gifts. And word gifts, everyone understands what healing is. Word gifts are kind of when you pray and you're open and you're listening and developing that listening through the, quote, charism, which requires God's action, which is kind of what makes it a charism in that sense, that you get the words or a hint of something that is applicable and appropriate and for that person. Sometimes it comes in different fashions, but God wants to speak to us and will, and sometimes we just need to ask and listen. So anyway, there's the development of that whole charism and ability and healing. Those are like two main branches, praise and then the healing word gift sort of things. Anyway, so through the praise then, what I'm working on is song praise writing. I'm using Sunday readings as the source of the raw material. And so then you craft a song from that, kind of like Light to the Nations, which I did down at Kathy's house. I'll go this way first, is then we set up a series of praise events where people come and play those songs, as well as other praise songs, but there's specific ones I have in mind where I'm trying to collect different songwriters, praise songwriters, to contribute the same types of songs where they're using the Sunday readings, and we're just going to stack them up and make sure we cover all the different Sunday readings, and if we run out, we'll start again. And that'll allow songs to be recorded, and each one of those songs will have an addendum to it, like a 10-minute period at the end where you can do open worship. So it'll be like a jam thing, period, where people can just kind of sing as they would what's on their heart to God and with each other in praise. And it's a whole big, interesting thing. And there's techniques to that, and that's part of the development also. So those will be events that will be recorded, and then those songs will then be able to be used for a CD that we put out, or a collection, MP3s, that'll be able to be used at prayer groups if people want to. And the neat thing about that is not just that they're songs, but that they have a 10-minute jam session at the end where then people can be doing the open worship, because what we're finding is that people are not doing open worship or spontaneous praise types of things because they're at prayer groups just playing the CD, and then the CD ends and they just go on to the next song. And the open worship part is one of the richest points for encountering Christ in praise and worship. So it's a handicap not to have that. So why are they playing songs? Because there's not enough musicians who are doing this anymore. Or I don't know if there ever was, but there's not enough for the prayer group. So they're reverting to CDs so that they can still do praise and worship, but they're hampered because they don't have songs which have that jam part in them. So we're going to create songs that do it, come to an end, and then immediately pick right back up and continue on in like 10 minutes or so of jam, which is where you can do that. And they could use the jam sessions as a standalone, but it just kind of makes sense to be creating songs that have it, and then have it as an addendum, and you know, a little bit even in the song as well. Also, so doing that will also allow, by asking for people to come and submit their songs and then play them live, we'll record it and tape it and probably broadcast it live. We'll also give venue or a format for new musicians to do their craft and a reason to do it, because right now there's not a ton of reason to develop this because there's just not enough of a venue for it. But by providing this as a platform, we could have monthly praise events where this happens and it gets recorded, and people could do it in other areas, and we can collect the best of them and put them all onto CDs or anything like that. So it could become like regional, diocesan-wide events in dioceses all over the place. And then you have just a steady stream of musicians and people who are into this, and then you got more people playing at prayer groups and stuff like that. So that's neat. A place where also, well, you have to create PowerPoints for that. That's just another little side project, but it goes along with it. Create a PowerPoint for the lyrics. With this, I mean, I have to learn mixing and I have to mix and stuff. That's just time. That's why it's up on my board. But it's good to learn that, and there's maybe I'll put out stuff about that somewhere for people to learn that if they're interested. Just like I'm learning it. So, out of all this also, there's a thing called, I created a channel the other day, and it'll probably become a page, website page or something, maybe even somewhere there's going to be an organization, company sort of thing out of this, just so if I ever get sued, I don't lose my shirt. But called Prayer Group Musician is the YouTube channel, and what I'm going to do there is put out the videos, most likely, of the live events, and access to the songs, but also, like once a month, I'm going to have a live Google Hangout where I'll invite the musicians who submitted songs to come in and be interviewed live, in a sense, on the air. It's kind of like a Skype thing, right? But you can have people from different locations kind of feeding in. And it gets broadcast live on the YouTube channel, and then it's archived automatically. And so we'll talk to them or each other and ask them how they go about the song, what its meaning is for them, any like interesting anecdotes about it, and then they can play the song live on the air. And that'll be just an interesting feed. But it'll have links there to the MP3s as well. And also with that, at another probably monthly event or so, talk to different prayer group musicians across the country and ask them about aspects of the craft. There's lots that goes into it, and getting people to sing and choosing the right songs and doing open worship and how to get spontaneous praise going, and there's just a lot, believe me, there's a lot that goes into it, with things to try to make it better, and so we can all learn from each other. And there's really not a forum out there that I'm aware of for the prayer group musician. There's lots of leaders of worship sort of thing, but it's different standing up on a platform at the front of a church, or like a lot of the Protestant churches have the big kind of stages where the band's kind of one of the central focuses, and they jam, and it's great, good stuff. But that's not like how it is in the Catholic Church. That's not really the point. The point is there's a difference between the Sunday service jam and kind of big production thing and the prayer group music being played by the local musicians, and you know, there's not usually a lot playing. So it's a different feel, it's a different sort of focus, and it's less a performance than a sharing of praise. But you got to lead, and you got all kinds of stuff. Do you go acoustic? Do you go electric? Do you use lights, PowerPoints? Who's picking the songs? What's the order? How do you get new musicians in? And I'm telling you, there's a lot. All right, so then what happens? There's a lot of praise and open worship development. Like, how do you really make this flow? At a recent event, I had a jam going on, and I was trying to play along on a looper, and then I kind of stopped that and just kind of went live. The looper is something that just plays something new.